Last year, I built a road bike, and that was a really fun project. This year, I wanted to do something different, something more suited to adventure, off-road, and bikepacking. So when Yoeleo reached out to me for a collaboration, I didn't hesitate. And this is where it starts. This is the Yoeleo Altera G21. The color is panda purple and the size is 49. The first thing that stands out is obviously the color. And I really like it, mainly because it's different to what I usually have. My road bike is white and my older gravel bike is black, so this already feels like a different kind of project visually. And this frame definitely looks bold and flashy. And the branding on the side is also visible, but without it being too much. So this already gives the build a very different look from the start. Beyond the color, the frame design itself also looks modern and well finished. The paint looks even, the edges also looks tidy, and overall the detailing on this frame looks properly done. Another standout feature about the frame is the asymmetrical rear triangle, which is, I assume, there to make space for the drivetrain while still allowing the frame for a wider tire setup. But before we deep dive even further on the frame, let's talk a bit about the cockpit. The cockpit that comes with this frame set is the H25 handlebar and the ST1 stem. Both are made out of carbon fiber. The setup is a 420mm flared handlebar with an 80mm stem. There was of course an option to go with a one-piece integrated handlebar, but for this adventure build, I thought the stem and handlebar combo makes more sense. I thought it would be a bit more practical, like if I want to change the feet later, swap something or make adjustment, this kind of setup will give me more flexibility. There's also a smaller box with all the separate parts and smaller accessories. One thing I'm actually happy to see here is the user manual. For my first road bike build, I basically had to wing a lot of it, mainly because there was no real manual to follow, so having something like this is definitely useful. In the box is the usual build accessories. Stuff like the top cap, the headset bearings, a set of spacers, compression plug, derailleur hangers, and the rest of the smaller frame parts. But there are also a few extras in here, like the bike computer mount, and also the i2 battery holder for the seat post. On top of the frame set, Yoeleo also sent over some extra bonus parts, and this includes the CL Max saddle, which is a full carbon shell and carbon rail saddle, and the C3 carbon bottle cage, which is, I have to say, looks pretty awesome. Now, in terms of the frame technical details, these are the ones that matter most for the build. First, the tire clearance, and it's pretty generous here. The frame can fit up to 53mm tires. So in terms of flexibility, there is a lot of room for me to decide what kind of setup I want for the build. At this point of time though, I'm still undecided of how wide I want the tires to be. And maybe you guys can help me with this. If you have some ideas, put it in the comment below. And now let's talk a bit about the mounting on the frame. It has 3 bottle mounts, 1, 2, and 3 down below the frame. There's also mount holes on the rear of the frame, so it's pannier rack compatible. And there's also mount holes on the fork, which is pretty awesome to load a bunch of bags for bikepacking trips. There was also an option to choose the frame without the mount holes on the fork, but I thought more holes are probably better. Another thing I find pretty cool is the in-frame storage. This version has a top tube and a down tube storage compartment, which seem useful if I want to keep small things in the frame without adding any extra bags. They also provided an alternative storage method, which is this rubber over here, which is honestly pretty cool because it gives you quick access to the stuff you need the most. In reality, this is probably something I need to see if I will be using often or not. The bottom bracket is T47, which is pretty practical because it is threaded, so making installing the bottom bracket a bit more easier. The frame also uses a standard round 27.2 seat post. This is great because instead of using a proprietary shape, it will keep things flexible in case I need to change to a third-party seat post in the future. And then at the back, it uses a universal derailleur hanger, which is good to have because it makes replacement and compatibility easier. So the cable routing are internal. Probably gonna make installation and maintenance a pain in the butt, but I do like the look of a clean bike without external cables, so it's a compromise. There is also an option to hang the front derailleur here, so 2x is possible. But for this build, I think I'm gonna try with the 1x setup. For me, the main thing is that this frame looks like a good base for a gravel adventure build. But enough about the specs, I want to talk a bit about the brand. One thing that is interesting to me about the brand is where Yoeleo sits in the market. The brand is not yet one of the big mainstream gravel names, but the way they position themselves is pretty clear. They are trying to offer premium carbon frame set with modern features, but at a price that still feels reachable than what the other big premium brands offer. At the same time, the brand also has 18 years of industry experience, and their frame sets are UCI approved. And talking about UCI, they also have some racing credibility behind the brand. In October 25, their riders got podium results in the UCI World Gravel Championship, and they were riding the G21 frame. The price of this frame set is listed as $1,400, and they also have 3 other color options, all at the same price point. On the support side, they listed 6 years warranty, but with an optional lifetime warranty extension for the price of $300. They also have a crash replacement policy with 30% discounts. It's one of those things you obviously hope you're never gonna need, but it's good to know that it's there. In essence, it feels like a brand that's trying to sit in that space, which is a sweet spot between the low-cost no-name stuff and the bigger brands. So overall, that is what makes Yoeleo interesting for me as a partner and collaboration for this project. So at this point, I think I have a clear idea of where I want this build to go. I want this build to lean a bit more towards the adventure and bikepacking build, but at the same time, something I can use for a normal gravel riding. But I'm definitely not gonna make this a race-focused or super fast gravel bike. What I still need to figure out is the exact setup. Things like group set, crank set, and so on. So maybe some of you gravel experts can suggest me components to pair up with the bike build. So give me your suggestions in the comments below. So yeah, this is the start of a new gravel build. If you want to follow along the full project, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and share this to your cycling friends and family. That's it. I'll see you in the next one.